welcome to the Conversations on Urbanization. Today we have a very, very important subject, the lessons that we can learn from the Chennai floods. And I can't think of a better person than Mr. Vikram Kapoor, who is Municipal Commissioner and Principal Secretary, Corporation of Chennai. Mr. Kapoor is someone whom I've known for the last 10 years and hold in very, very high regard. I have learned a great deal on challenges of urbanization, urban governance from him. He's a Delhi boy who studied in Springdales and St. Stephen's and then joined the IAS and has held some very, very important positions. I believe the profile of the speaker has been circulated, but still I would like to say that he was MD and CEO of the Tamil Nadu Urban Development Fund, which is one of those institutions which we keep recommending to all the other states. They played a very, very constructive and proactive role in urbanization in Tamil Nadu. He was member secretary of the Chennai Metropolitan Development Authority, chairman of Tamil Nadu Pollution Control Board, and now Principal Secretary Industries Department and Commissioner Corporation for Chennai. I can't think of anyone better than Vikram to tell us how we can avoid these situations. As I was telling him, reading the newspapers, we all find that they have done an absolutely terrific job of responding to the crisis, and that is very heartening. But what I want him to focus on is how we can avoid getting into these situations, and in particular, since many of us believe, and I'm sure he agrees, that this was not just nature's fury, but it was something which could be avoided if we had planned how to live with our rivers in our cities. So other cities are now looking to see what they can do so that they don't face similar situations.
Respected Dr. Ahluwalia, Director IHC, distinguished members of this audience. First and foremost, my thanks to ICRIER as well as IHC for giving me this wonderful opportunity. This would be my first presentation after the Chennai floods. I appreciate that we are short on time, but this is a story that needs to be told. Although I'll try to be as brief as possible and rush through most of my presentation, it's important because we need to set the perspective before we start talking about why this happened and what needs to be done to prevent such disasters, because every disaster is a big lesson, and particularly when we're talking of cities like Chennai, it requires a great deal of deliberation. So I'll start without any further delay. These are just the facts about Chennai, but what's important is that this is one of the unique cities in India, maybe in the world, which is blessed to have as many as 3 rivers, not 1, 2, but 3 rivers, a major canal, and several other water bodies that dot its landscape. And to add to this, we have a marsh. Very few cities in the world today can boast of this kind of a geographical bounty. In terms of the drainage of the city, what's important to note is that just 1/3 of the city's streets or roads are actually drained out by a stormwater drain network. In fact, if you see the map, the darker portion is the core city, which was in existence till 2011, and the greener part is what was added to the city post 2011, what we call the extended areas. And what's important to note is that the extended area has virtually no stormwater drain network. Whatever exists is in the core city. The average rainfall is just about 96 centimeters, and as you may know, most of our rainfall comes from the northeast monsoon, which is typically October to December. This year, the monsoon was exceptional, unprecedented, if I may say so. If you see this graph, it indicates the days on which we had rainfall. Excessive rainfall is indicated by the color red. But as you can see, there were at least every week one episode of heavy rainfall in the range of above 12 centimeters. For us, anything above 12 centimeters is heavy rainfall. And the worst was the deluge, the episode that happened on the 1st and 2nd of December, which caused massive flooding, where something more than 30 centimeters of rainfall, which never happened in the history of Chennai, took place. As I mentioned, November of last year was the wettest month ever, and we beat all records. The rainfall on the 1st and 2nd was exceptionally high. But what's important is that not just Chennai alone, but the suburbs of Chennai. And I indicate this map to show that the entire suburbs of Chennai, covering the districts of Kanjipuram and Tiruvallur, is completely dotted with water bodies, lakes, reservoirs, canals. So much so that all the water that fell into this catchment area actually flowed through these three rivers of Chennai. And there were areas in our outlying areas which got as much as 45 to 50 centimeters of rainfall. And all that water actually was responsible for the flooding of Chennai. Just an imagery to show how these water bodies, which are shown in the dark on the left, and the inundation that happened in Chennai city, which is in the pink, just to show that how this impacted at the time of floods.